Right, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to a new video on the channel. Now, I know you've all seen the title, and I know you are probably all screaming at the screen right now from a mix of annoyance that I've sold it, because I'm sure a lot of you love the content on the MT10 on the channel, and also just annoyance at me from, you know, I only got the bike 2 months ago, from changing bikes so much. So in today we're going to jump on the ZX6R, and I'm going to explain to you as to why. Now, this video is going to be a bit personal. It isn't really something I ever really wanted to include on the channel, stuff this personal. It's more just to enjoy the bikes, but I feel like for this it's going to be a bit necessary. And yeah, I'm a bit nervous to make this video, so don't judge me too hard. We'll get the bike started, and then I will kind of explain to you why, and it's going to be a bit personal on a financial level. So yeah, thanks for stopping by, guys. Please don't be too annoyed at me for selling it, and I hope you enjoy the video. Right, on a more positive note, a lot of this realizations I'm going to talk about in this video are thanks to this bike. Now, in the 3 years of motorcycling, I've owned an absolute ton of bikes. You know, I swap so much, and it is a big problem I'm going to talk about in this video, and this is my favourite, and this is the best decision I've ever made buying this bike, and you will realise why as the video goes on. But I have a lot to thank for this bike in only the short amount of time I've owned it, for a lot of realisations it's given me about my life. As deep as that sounds, that will make sense. So this is probably going to be the most exciting part of the video, actually starting the bike. Probably the only really kind of bike content you're going to get in this video, unfortunately. Oh, it sounds so good and raw. Start up always gets me on this bike. But yeah, let's jump on the road and yeah, talk, I suppose. Right, so to start off, a couple of people have commented asking, after a recent video I made talking about a 2007 R1, have I bought that bike? No, I haven't. I was very, very close to actually buying that. The deal just kind of fell through, and since then I kind of have just had this whole realization unravel, which is what's led to this video. So to put it plain and simple, at the start the MT10 is sold, and for the time being it isn't being replaced. Now, I am going to get 3 bikes back at some point, but that's going to be quite a bit down the line. So anyway, let's start by explaining to you the best way to do that is to throw back many years ago. I'm going to give kind of a little bit of a life backstory to explain how I probably got into the situation I am in. You know, when I first started working a job, we'll go as far back as that, I always kind of had the knowledge that credit in life is something that was going to be very important, and I kind of had that cemented into my mind. So, you know, as soon as I started working and earning money, that was something that I kind of just worked on from the second I started getting paid. So whether that be, you know, doing little things like, you know, if I wanted to buy a pair of shoes or whatever it would be, even if I could buy it outright, I would do it under, like, you know, 3 installments or whatever it is like that. And, you know, I went through every measure I possibly could to build up my credit file, as obviously that is extremely important in life, whether that be, you know, house mortgages, whatever it could be, you know, vehicle finance, whatever you want. In some way, credit is important for many aspects in life. So I always knew the importance of that. I've grown up most of my life as a car person, so I never really even had an intention of being interested in motorcycles, let alone buying them. I mean, when I was really young, I did show a bit of an interest in motorcycles, but it was always cars for me. But you know, learning to drive was a lot of effort, a lot of money, and I kind of lost motivation for that. And then I went on a trip to Amsterdam, and everyone knows what Amsterdam's like. Bicycles everywhere, beautiful flat straight roads, and for some reason something clicked with me on that holiday that made me decide I wanted to buy a bike. I had no clue about bikes whatsoever. I just kind of wanted it as a quick way into a bit of motor transport. So I went into the Yamaha dealership and I financed a brand new 125, which in hindsight was, you know, a start of a terrible idea, as obviously a brand new 125 was very pricey for one, and two, I went for an XSR 125 Legacy, which was, I want to say, a £5.5 grand 125. So yeah, it was a lot of money. I had no idea, you know, how it all worked, financing a vehicle, anything. I just went in there, kind of thought I liked the bike. A week later I decided that, you know, I wanted to get that bike via finance. You know, I had no idea how it all worked, if I'd get accepted or anything. Truth be told, obviously I did get accepted, and that's what started my bike career. Now that was a motor transport, and I think within a day I fell in love with motorcycles, and you know, within a few weeks of that I had gone for a big bike, and then I just obviously to go and do my full license. So at this point it was kind of where it started into a downward spiral. You know, I started immediately on a brand new 125, and I was also probably a bit gobsmacked by how easy it was to just get the bike, you know. So it sent me in a bit of a downward spiral where I never truly appreciated what I had, because I started off with it just being so easy to get, you know, more, not exactly anything I wanted, because obviously I was on restricted license, and you know, you can only afford so much a month. But yeah, that kind of led me into a downward spiral where you've seen over the years I've gone through an absolute ton of bikes, which has just been the most unhealthy thing for me, because I've got so used to the ease of it, and I've never truly appreciated what I have, that it's made me chop and change bikes so much. And you know, there's this whole topic of, I know a lot of people that kind of comment negatively on finance. I don't think there is a problem with finance whatsoever. You know, most of the bikes I have had have been on hire purchase finance, so I've owned it at the end. So I've always had the intention to use it as a way to, you know, buy what is a very expensive bike, and you have to be very fortunate to buy a bike like that outright in cash, let's be honest, especially at my age, because, you know, I'm pretty young. I always had the intention to use it just as an opportunity to get to buy it over time, if that makes sense. But that never happened, because I've been so caught up on having the new flashy things, because it just seemed easy, that it just sent me in this terrible spiral of chopping and changing bikes. And it's, you know, it's all very well doing that. Financing a bike on hire purchase is perfectly fine in my opinion, if you're sensible with it. Clearly I am not, and I've become extremely obsessed with finance and the ease of it, and it's become very unhealthy, very financially unhealthy. You know, I do think in my personality trait there is other layers to it, that I do think there is something in my brain, you know, whether that's maybe ADHD, I don't even go as far to say autism, I don't know, I've never been tested, but the way my personality is almost like ADHD, where I just kind of do things in the spur of the moment, so that hasn't helped it all. Yeah, I feel like I'm not explaining it very well, I am rambling a bit, but the moral of the story is that, you know, I'm going to see the road. There's police there, but come on, the kids wanted it. Kind of lost my train of thought. I didn't realise there were police there, but they smiled at me for it. The moral of the story is, it's fine if you know, you get the one bike, the bike you want, you use that to pay it off, and that be the end of it. And obviously I haven't done that, I've kept swapping, and bear in mind, for context, every time I swap bikes I lose at least £1 grand, if not way more than that, sometimes multiple thousands of pounds I lose each time. So if you add up how many times I've traded bikes, I've lost enough to buy probably a good couple of them outright, which is really painful to think about. and yeah, it's got to the point now where I've got so many, and it's, you know, it's fine, I can afford the monthly payments, but am I, you know, how much am I sacrificing outside of those bike payments in terms of my enjoyment and what I'm doing? And to tell you the truth, it is a lot. I am probably living way out of my means now. You know, I've got 3 bikes, all on finance. They're all on hire purchase finance, so yeah, sure, it's good that I own them at the end of it, but because of that, obviously the monthly payments are a lot of money, and it is meaning that I am having to sacrifice sometimes doing things I would like to. You know, I want to be going to doing track days, and you know, quite a lot of the times friends ask me to, you know, do you want to come on this track day, do you want to do this, do you want to do that? And you know, I kind of just find myself making an excuse because I don't want to admit that, you know, out of embarrassment, it's a bit tight on money for me. And you know, it's not really healthy, and I think this bike has really kind of made me realise that these new flashy bikes that cost a lot of money, are they really worth it? Now don't get me wrong, they are amazing bikes, but this bike's about 1/4 of the price of the MT10, and I'm enjoying it this much, and it's kind of just resonated to me to realise that this spiral I'm in is really unhealthy, and if I don't stop it soon, something is going to go wrong, or I'm just going to end up living a bit of a life of misery where I'm, you know, kind of putting myself above what I could really afford whilst still enjoying my life. And you know, I do think I do tend to be good financially. Now don't get me wrong, I can obviously afford the bikes, hence why I've always had them, but there's a difference between being able to afford it in terms of the numbers and actually being able to afford it comfortably and still being able to enjoy things without having to think too deeply into the money side of it, if that makes any sense. And that is very much the point I'm at now, and I do have this bike to thank for that. So yeah, that's probably a very long-winded explanation. It's probably not been explained massively well, but moral of the story is I've become way too obsessed with financing the latest and greatest. You know, every time I finance one, it's like I've got that and then I'm on to the next one, because in my mind I know it's so easy to just, you know, swap bikes and go on to the next thing, which has become extremely unhealthy. And it's because I've never got to a point where I've truly appreciated my bike, because I've become obsessed with just, you know, the ease of it. And yeah, that's where we are today. That is the shortened version of it at the end there. But yeah, that is basically why I have decided to sell my MT10. Now, what does that mean for the future of the channel? As I know a lot of you were very enjoying the content with the MT10. However, you've seen recently I've really transitioned into trying to bring a range of content for you guys, because obviously it's all very well me, you know, I've got a Kawasaki now, which is good, but I did just have Yamahas, so I was very limited on the kind of the range of audience I was appealing to. So that is why the first ride reviews video on the channel are kind of transitioning into one of my main topics, as obviously I can cover a much bigger range of bikes that can appeal to more people, and just generally it's enjoyable to try out all the new bikes. So don't get me wrong, this by no means means any negative on the content, and it also does mean that I can actually bring you guys better content, because I have more money to go out and do things like track days and bigger content that involve bigger costs, for example. And like this bike, you know, I want to restore this. This is going to open up a lot of money for that. So the plan is I'm going to enjoy this bike over summer, and then in winter time, when there's a bit less to film, we're going to be doing a whole restoration series on the channel of this bike, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to. And also, am I going to have 2 bikes for long? Maybe, maybe not. Now, I am most definitely going to go back to 3 bikes. However, to try and help this, I've sold the MT10, obviously that bike was a lot of money, brand new. I've lost a lot of money doing that, stupid, but I think generally it's going to put me into a better path to try and almost fix the way I am. Now, my rule is I cannot buy a third bike until I own this bike outright. That is the best way forward, and I feel like that will give me a level of satisfaction and enjoyment of the bike to another level, and hopefully that can help fix me. It sounds really deep the way I'm saying help fix me, but don't stress, I will be buying a third bike, but I want to pay this bike off first, so that is the way we're going to do it. How long that will take me, I don't know. I don't think it will take me long at all. I am very good with my money, so I would expect, let's just say, you know, 6 months, if not most definitely by next summer, I will be back on a third bike. How fancy that will be, I don't know. Make sure to like and subscribe, as that might help the bike be a little more fancy. But yeah, going forward, that is the plan. The content is not going to fall off from this at all. I'm only going to keep pushing and pushing to make the channel better and better, and bring you more and more content that you all enjoy. As you know, this is my hobby. All the stuff I film half the time is stuff I will be going to do anyway, and I absolutely enjoy the channel. I absolutely enjoy all the love and support I do get for the effort I put into it, as I do put hours and hours. My girlfriend will tell you, when I'm not at my normal 9-to-5 job, I basically spend all my time editing. But I enjoy it, I love it, and a lot of you guys seem to enjoy it, so that's where we're at. Yeah, sorry it's a lot of rambling, hopefully I've explained it well. Yeah, that is it. Please go lightly on me in the comments, as yeah, I've been worried to make this video. I didn't want the channel to be personal, it's all about the bikes, but I think in this scenario I just kind of had to make this video to kind of explain to you guys what's going on and why, because otherwise I think you would all be a bit confused and a bit annoyed at like, what the hell is this guy doing? So yeah, that's that. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Sorry it's been a bit of a maybe a slightly boring watch. You know, all my normal content is a lot more exciting to watch than this, I'm sure, but I did just want to make this video to kind of explain to you guys, so you kind of know what is going on, rather than it being a whole kind of confusing thing. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully you understand my reasons for making this video and why I've done what I've done, and hopefully you aren't too sad at the MT10 going, and if you are, please give me the benefit of the doubt. You will not regret staying here on the channel, as the content is still going to be just as good, and I'm still going to be filming with some amazing bikes like that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, I hope to see you in the next video. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe for plenty more videos to come. Cheers.